everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are doing one of my favorite things today. We're taking down some sketchy trees, 2 of them to be specific. We have this big ash tree, A-S-H, right here, and she's dead. Been dead for a while, as you can tell. You can see where that cherry is up there, been rubbing marks on it. Most of the smaller top pieces are missing out of it, but she keeps falling. There's a big old chunk that's fallen there, and it's just time to take it down. This is back by the You Tube Yacht, which is one of the reasons I want to take it down. And number 2 is going to be this maple right here. Now I know you're thinking, well, that maple looks pretty healthy, and it is. And at first glance, the top does look pretty good. But if you pay attention, if you look at the outer edge of that canopy, you'll see how the outer, very outer limbs, none of those filled out. So it is dying on us. And here's your big giveaway. You can see what the center of it looks like. The biggest issue with this one is it's leaning towards the You Tube Yacht. I want to go ahead and get this down because we're going to start framing towards the end of June on this, is what it's looking like. And if it bounces now, I think she'll just kind of glance off the side if we've got a problem. But if we're framed up, I don't want to have to deal with that. I was really hoping that tree would be okay and it would make it. I think it just looks cool with the boat tucked into the trees like that. But I just can't risk having a damaged tree that close to something that we're going to rent out to people. Let's go ahead and start with this one. You can see most of the top weight leans that way and the tree itself leans that way, which is great. That's the direction I want to go. We do have a couple things that we're probably going to hit. I'm hoping it just breaks that branch right there off that cherry. But ultimately, I'm hoping we can kind of get her swung right here in this big opening we got. Gonna be running the 372 today. Oh, I need to tell you, I'm not a professional. I'm not a logger or an arborist or anything like that. I'm just a fellow that owns property and likes to take care of his own stuff. So definitely not a how-to, but you know, for your entertainment. For your entertainment only, all right? I can't figure out why won't, well, I guess that's not a thing anymore. So step 1 is going to be clean the area out around here and give me a path out. Man, there's just not a lot left in this thing. She's pretty soft on the inside. Right there, can you see? What about now? Almost. We're going for, let's see if we find it on the screen. There. This whole, pretty big shot. We should be all right. Shirley will be all right. That'll work. I'm gonna have to go adjust that saw real quick. She's just not island super great for me. But you hit the hole, looks good. Just that one limb out of that cherry tree like we talked about. It was pretty dead. I wasn't too worried about it splitting up the middle, but it did have a little lean that way, so I just played it safe, whatever. Bore cut through the center, bar didn't go all the way through, no big deal, just came around the backside. When it's dead like that, for me anyway, when I come around eventually it'll just pop and break, and that's what she did. The bummer part here is this thing's pretty wrought. I don't even know if any of this is going to be good for firewood or not. It's really not even that great. I mean, you can look in her there. She doesn't look too good. I think that's where we'll leave it for now. Get that one limb pulled down, and we'll head down over to the maple tree. Sure. Now, if I had a feller here spotting that ladder for me, I'd probably run it from the deck up to the tree, but being by myself, we're gonna play this as the safe bet. We'll just go try to get a choker up there somewhere. So I got the chain from that tree down to that other maple over there. With it coming along in the middle, and what we're going to see if we can get that to move at all. Now the goal is not to pull the tree down, because I'm here. The goal is to try to get pressure on the tree this way so that when I cut it, it wants to fall this way. That's my goal anyway. Can you even see? There's too many leaves, you can't see. No, come on. Now, I'm gonna watch from down here, but I'm gonna set you guys up there. I'm gonna go ahead and put a face cut in it, and I'm gonna stay up pretty high because we're gonna rip this out with the backhoe later. I'm gonna leave myself a tall stump to play with. And we'll make some adjustments as we go. Chain's pulling that way, but we're gonna try for down that hole right there. That style cut always causes controversy, but that's okay. People can say what they want about it. I learned that from a fellow who's been doing it for like 30 years. You don't use this on every tree, but he uses it on trees that he pulls. Especially if you can't get a line all the way in the top and you're pulling halfway down, there's a lot of force right there trying to pull that way because your chain's so low, or in his case his skidder winch cable is so low. And that's always my biggest fear, is you're pulling so hard you come into your hinge, the bottom breaks, kicks out the way it's pulling, and then falls the wrong direction. But with this, it kind of gives it that stop. You got to go a little bit further underneath. You're relying on that wood to break. And of course, you risk the chance of that center splitting out, but it's kind of unlikely, especially when your center doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Anything down there? People always get mad about that, but that's okay. You know, you got to give them stuff to be mad at. They need something to be mad at from time to time, and that's fine. Like the way I had those chains hooked together. Oh, yeah. I'm going to take all this top, and we're going to pile it on top of this big old stump. You guys remember Nuts 319? Pete came out and cut this tree for us. and it wasn't in the best of shape, and it was drowning a lot of this out as far as sunlight goes, shading out underneath. But I don't know if you can tell. Well, we just dropped a tree on a lot of it, but there is a tremendous amount of new growth coming up since he cut that down for us. Of course, we got our poplars coming in, a bunch of those. We got, looks like a type of oak popping up there, a whole bunch of poplars. There's some hickories in there, right here. I do believe that is a hickory. There's all kinds of new hardwoods coming up since he opened that canopy up for us, which is great. That was the goal of it. Trees have life cycles, and when they reach into that life cycle, you get one of two options. You get the first tree we cut down, which is it's rot, it's dead, and you get no resources out of it. It's even too rot for firewood and definitely no timber. Or you time it just right, you go out, you log it, you get the resource of timber, and you promote new growth. It's one of my favorite days. It's burning day. Now I know it looks like I'm trying to just flaunt my wealth over here, but I assure you I'm not. That's all just rotten, nasty lumber. I go out to the local sawmill and I'll buy like 300, 400, 500 board foot at a time, bundles of what they call coal cuts of whatever they're milling. And I'll do that a few times a year. I'll go through, I'll pick out what I want, stuff that's good, stuff that's worth using, and all the stuff that is junk, it just goes here. Now if I had, and I know somebody's gonna say that's a waste of wood, you could use that for firewood. And I agree, that's exactly what we're doing. She's burning good and hot, but we're gonna have to let that burn down just a little bit before we start throwing stuff on there. Let's fire this rig up and add some of those bigger logs to this fire. I've got to put a quick attach on the front of this thing so I can get some forks for it. Oh, that'd be so fast. I was able to use that tree to get this to actually sit back in the bucket, so hopefully it allows me to actually dump this big fella on top. We'll just leave that there so I can lose it and buy another one day. Not bad. Moving stuff I would have either had to rent equipment for or worked a whole lot harder for at the 755 and the chainsaw. This thing has proven its worth pretty quick. The rest of that stuff we'll get with the 755. I think a really good goal for today is not burning any equipment to the ground. That's where I'm at. I'm not saying it's the best wood, but this one does have a little decent stuff in it. I think I'm going to cut it there. Cut it there. We'll save that log section for the splitter and the rotted out crotches. Look at this little feller. You alright, buddy? Yeah, you're alright. Let's put you somewhere where we're not working. There you go. I need to let that die down quite a bit before I start throwing more stuff on with the 755. She's a little soft on this side. Hopefully that don't hurt us too bad. We're just going to hook a chain to it and see if we can't pull that first log up, get it out of here. Get it to a place where I can get it with the 755. And then we're going to try to grab that and pull that up closer. That way whenever we're cutting the rest of these branches off, I'm not walking as far. Look at the fossils in this rock here. That is pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. Let's see if we can't just pull her out from there. It's kind of tricky pulling from. I wish I had like a drawbar underneath maybe, where I could hook lower, because when you pull on that, it does that kind of thing. It gets a little wild. Somebody remind me why I didn't get a backhoe a long time ago. Huh? Somebody. Oh, it takes the fun out of it when it's that easy, you know? Well, that's just a little closer to the pile. Very nice. Go get the saw, start getting this thing cleaned up the rest of the way. That's going to be a good one when it all dries out. I got a good length here and a few pieces I need to trim off. I'm going to pull that up here out of the way some, shave it, cut it. We'll shove this together just a little bit real quick, and then we'll be done with the 555. I think that looks great. One less thing for me to have to worry about that dead tree. We're going to leave the stump for now and just let it die some more and rot out, so it's that much easier to dig out. That'll dry out quite a bit, and we'll burn it when we get a good heavy rain day. And this will be good enough for what it is. I'll take the saw out there at some point and just buzz that top so it all kind of lays flat, but that's all small enough it can lay and rot. And some of the smaller stuff that's up here, that'll get picked up whenever we do the parking improvements. I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet, if I'm going to cut it and then hand split it. I just haven't quite made the decision. How you doing there, bud? But I'm happy. 2 big hazard trees down, cleaned up, ready to go. Ready to move on to the next project, which will either be working out at my brother's place, putting a culvert in, or digging these stumps out, parking lot improvement, and building the parking spot behind the barn for the 555. It'll be one of those two, just kind of depends what the weather does. I definitely appreciate you guys watching. I hope you tune in for the next one.